Chili's. It's the new golf course. It's where business happens. Which is good. Swinging a golf club with rib-sauced hands would be dangerous. Add a few margaritas to the mix and it would be an extreme sport. No, a much better idea, albeit less entertaining, is a long lunch at Chili's. Allow the wheels of industry to slowly turn. Marinate openly. Chili's has kind of mastered the art of having everyone's favourite meal on one menu. Anyone perusing a Chili's menu and claiming there's nothing they fancy sets off alarm bells. Meeting concluded. First date over, and friendships called into question. The Chili's algorithm already knows you. Has you covered. I smugly thought Chili's should do a takeaway margarita and call it Margo Rita. They already did. Of course they did. Great burgers and fries was the idea that Larry Levine wanted to offer residents of the Dallas, Texas area in the early 1970s. While this might not sound particularly original, this was not meant to be a fast food joint, the likes of which were popular at the time. More of a casual dining, gourmet burger establishment with hand-cut fries. Oh, and also a Mexican influence that served alcohol. Fairly broad menu then. According to Levine, in a D Magazine article dated 2010, he had been a judge at Carroll Shelby's Chili Cook-Offs. That explains the name and the drive to succeed, and thought that adding chili to the menu would help when talking to the press. Journalists are highly receptive to chili, so this makes sense. The hand-cut fries turned out to be more of an issue. Larry Levine was determined to sell hand-cut fries, rather than frozen. In particular, he wanted to sell fries like Max Barbecue, a local barbecue joint. The owner of Max Barbecue, Billy McDonald, told Levine how to make them. But due to a difference in size of the equipment, the results were not the same and the fries would turn out overcooked. After Levine said he would resort to selling frozen fries, Billy McDonald peeled away from his own restaurant to come around and show him how it was done. As a result, the gourmet burgers were now accompanied by properly cooked, hand-cut fries, and the word began to spread. Another important fact that Levine notes is the change in law in Texas around the sale of alcohol. The state previously required customers that wanted to purchase a mixed drink in a restaurant to carry a membership card for every individual restaurant. With this change in law, the idea was now to sell a great burger and a margarita for lunch and or dinner, without the bureaucracy. All that was needed was a location. A building on Greenville Avenue and Meadow Lane became available. Despite advice that it was too far away from the action, a deal to lease the property was done. The initial budget for the restaurant was $75,000, and the money was raised by friends. To put that into perspective, $75,000 is more like $380,000 in today's money, and even then it went over budget. The first day that Chili's opened, the restaurant did $100 in sales. Word spread of this casual new restaurant and Chili's was off and running. After a year, Levine and co. looked to open a second location. Those involved thought that the concept of Chili's was so unique that Dallas wouldn't be able to support another one, and so the second restaurant opened in Houston, which was also a hit, and saw the formation of Chili's Inc. Chili's Inc. would go on to be Brinker International after Norman Brinker joined the company with the aspiration of turning Chili's into a large chain, which he did, and Brinker International now owns not just Chili's, but the Maggiano's Italian restaurant chain too. In more recent times, Chili's Grill and Bar in 2019 had over 1,200 units in the United States, and sales of over $3.5 billion. These are pre-pandemic numbers, but looking at the sales figures going back to 2011, and the figures don't really suggest too much of a generational shift in habits caused by millennials. If anything, there is a level of stagnation, and the desserts looking like they are from the 1970s, when Chili's first opened. Delicious? Sure. Classic? Definitely. But not too much in the way of change, as you can see from this Polaroid. Now, to completely fly in the face of my last point that I probably should have removed, the classic Chili's margarita is a mainstay. Older, perhaps, than a dessert shaped like a volcano, the margarita is very much a Chili's experience. Always has been. A little fancy, the sophisticated swirl, and a debonair sip on a special occasion, or just a Tuesday lunchtime. Paired, tantalizingly, with a big mouth burger to bring you back down to earth. It is Chili's after all, and that's not a bad thing. And it wouldn't take many margaritas before singing Baby Back Ribs.
Did somebody say baby back ribs? I
don't think Christian has time for that.
I have time. I want my baby back, baby back, baby back. I want my baby back, baby back, baby back. I want my baby back, baby back, baby back. I want my baby back rib.
Extremely popular jingle that appeared in a Chili's ad. Sung by Willie McCoy, the jingle quickly entered pop culture. When Willie died, his funeral was barbecue themed. The pasta wore a chef's hat, and the casket resembled a smoker, and the pallbearers were singing the baby back ribs jingle. The jingle itself was created by Guy Bomarito, supposedly as a last-ditch effort to get Chili's to reconsider firing his ad agency. It worked, and the jingle was apparently created in less than 5 minutes, which seems like a long time. There were reports recently that Brinker International is committed to an $18 hourly wage by 2023 and to increase management pay while putting more focus on promoting from within. There is a general trend to increase hourly wages within the sector, but it might not be from a position of choice. Restaurants need to attract staff back to the restaurant industry. The work is hard and the hours can be long. Compensation matters. Promoting from within is prudent but a long-term strategy. In a fairly recent marketing campaign to encourage customers to come out and eat at Chili's, Chili's ran an advert to promote just that, but rather than simply promoting this message, which is a simple one, Chili's decided you shouldn't go out to eat, but instead go out to eater, spelt I-T-A, entirely made up and explained to you in a cheerful, upbeat manner. Even YouTube's advanced machine learning speech recognition technology is left perplexed with what Chili's is trying to say, and at a first glance seems language aimed at children that drink margaritas. Unfortunately, it appears the intended audience would be adults. Perhaps adults with a passion for learning new languages or struggling crossword puzzle enthusiasts. Well, everyone needs to eat. The use of microwaves has been a criticism of Chili's, as if Chili's would be unique in the use of such equipment. Far from it. It is pretty common for microwaves to be used even in high-end restaurants, and is a useful tool. They can be more efficient, and for purposes of steaming, potentially there is less need for water. So Chili's would definitely not be alone in this practice. So is Chili's different enough? Casual dining does have competition from a growing premium fast food market that is closing the gap between traditional fast food joints and casual dining chains. While this is true, casual dining still has a place that premium fast food hasn't managed to fill quite yet. A meal out at Chili's is still a meal out, an occasion, a sit-down restaurant atmosphere that is family-friendly, adult-friendly too, and the broad menu that premium fast food tends not to have. The adult-friendly bit is a key differentiator. The offering of alcohol is not something that premium fast food has a handle on. Some offer beer or light alcoholic beverages, but similar to the food menu, Chili's can offer a wider range of alcohol that makes the experience feel a little bit more of an experience. $5 margaritas is a product that Chili's seems keen to highlight. This $5 gateway to a chaotic lifestyle in the future is a unique selling point for Chili's. A monthly rotating margarita of the month is interesting. Without knowing the data behind such decisions, assuming there is data behind it, it would suggest that trying to entice a particular clientele back every month with booze disguised with fruit might be aimed at a particular demographic. Or Chili's is just going with the margarita because that's what they've always done. A more relevant comparison to make would be how well Chili's fares when compared to similar brands in this market sector. There is a lot of competition, but Chili's does have a good following, and a brand that still features as one of the most recognized. The Cheesecake Factory, Longhorn Steakhouse, Olive Garden, Texas Roadhouse, and plenty more are all competing for the customer's dollar. Applebee's might be the closest in comparison. Similar menu, similar sales, and number of units. Chili's and Applebee's are hard to separate, which is both a positive and a negative. Positive being that two large competitors helps establish and maintain a market, and helps with competition. The negative for the business is finding ways to appeal to your intended market and stand out. Chili's is still popular. A good move was the recent reduction in menu items a few years ago, with the goal to speed up service. More importantly, Chili's in the near future needs to be able to win fans from growing chains that are popular. A good example would be the likes of Texas Roadhouse and Longhorn Steakhouse. Both have sales that have been growing while Chili's hasn't. At the moment, Chili's isn't different enough, but Chili's is still Chili's. $5 margs, anyone? Learning another language can be useful. Making one up is a bold move. A trip to Chili's with your translator is an experience you can rely on. A dessert shaped like a volcano. A menu for everyone. A margarita or two. Hungry or not, if you're honest, it's enough to make you want to go out and eat her. All things Chili's. Let me know. Thanks for watching.